Hello and welcome now to a new series of videos. Oh, you might wonder how many series I'm starting. This is about GPS. Oh, why am I starting this series? Recently, I have seen that there are many people, even some knowledgeable people, have confusions about the GPS. What is GPS? Whether it is tracking? Is our privacy violated? And who can track whom? All these kind of doubts are there, as well as there are some misconceptions. So I'm trying to clear them in a series of videos. Let's see what all I can include. I might go more into deep and I might talk something simple terms for understanding. And let me see how many videos I make. I'll make a series of videos, that is sure. So in this first video, my attempt is to try to tell you in very simple terms what is GPS. Now, as I said about misconceptions, the first thing I'll say is clear at least one misconceptions. The GPS itself cannot track you. Meaning, most people have this misconception: GPS is owned by US company or US military, not company. GPS is owned by US military. When you use it, they will know where you are. They can track you and all not. No, they cannot. I'll come into that detail much later about tracking. There will be a separate video on tracking itself. Here I'll show you just one screenshot from the website of the GPS itself, that they cannot track you. It just says it is an answer written to a question, which is saying that they cannot track you. Now, why this misconception has come? Because most of the people who are using GPS have been using not just GPS but at least 3 or 4 separate technologies combined with it. Most people started using GPS after the smartphones came in, and the smartphone, this same smartphone on which I am recording, is not having just GPS. GPS has got, there is GPS of course, plus there are at least 5-6 more technologies or 4-5 more technologies which are tightly integrated, and what you see is the end result is one unit. Most of the people would be aware or seeing this unit as a Google Maps. So you most of the times feel that GPS and Google Maps are one and the same. GPS possibly is done by Google itself and all that. Many confusions are possible. But to understand that, real GPS, meaning to understand GPS really, you have to split those technologies into separate parts. And by splitting them into separate parts, you need to understand each one separately. That is what I am trying to do today. So, to explain that, I will show you an older device. I have it here with me. By the way, I have to introduce myself why I am doing this. I am basically a CAD professional. I have been using CAD since about 32 years. I have been using GIS since about 25 years. And I have been using GPS since about 20 years. Now, so what I show you here, this is a handheld GPS device. I'll show you some screenshots later. Now, I'll show you another device. Now, this is also a GPS device, but it doesn't have any display. You just see it like a box. So, these are older devices. The second device which I showed you is about 10 years old. The first one is about 20 years old. So, what are these devices doing and what they have? We'll come to that in a later video when I talk about devices, but I'll tell you in short that both these devices do not have internet. they cannot connect to internet. Both these devices have storage space. This device doesn't even have display, so this can't even have a map because there is no display. The other device has storage space, and it has map. See, now it is trying to acquire satellites. So, now coming back to what is GPS? GPS, precisely if you say that GPS is the name that is given to this service or the entire system which is operated by US administration. It was started by US military. Now it is under the overall control of US administration, but not necessarily only US military. So what is this system consist of and how it works? This system consists, for the entire working, this system consists basically of two parts. One part is the satellites which are there, which are circulating around the earth, and second part is the devices. This is one of the devices. This is a handheld device. I can hold it in hand and move anywhere. You can have devices which are permanently mounted in buildings. You can have devices that are mounted on aircraft. You can have devices that are mounted on ship. You can have devices that are mounted in vehicles. So there are two parts. One is the satellites which are around the earth, and second is the GPS devices. The GPS devices, more technically, it's called as a GPS receiver. This is a GPS receiver. This is also a GPS receiver. Why do we call it receiver? Because the GPS satellites only transmit and these devices receive. So how many satellites are there, or what do they do? The simple thing is, around our earth there is a cluster of 24 satellites. 24 operating at one time. There could be more satellites. Now the sun has come bright, telling me that when I started talking about sky and satellites, our star has come into picture. It was cloudy and now it has become sunny. So the cluster of satellites, 24 satellites, is spaced evenly around the entire earth, so that at any point of time from any location on earth you can view possibly 10 to 12 satellites or maybe less. And then what these satellites do is, each of these satellites transmits its present position precisely and its identification and precise time. So what you have is, from this receiver device at any given point of time or at any one time, I can see about 10 satellites or 12 satellites, but minimum 4 are necessary. So when I am in communication, I use the wrong word communication. I don't communicate to the satellites. When I can receive signals from at least 4 satellites, which send me the information that I am satellite ID 4, I am located at this place, and now the time is this, and it sends me the signal. Then my receiver has a device, or the device is in the form of a chip or a IC, which takes signals from all these satellites, and based on that it calculates how much time it took for the signal to reach from the satellite to the receiver. So it can calculate precisely the time that is taken for the signal to come from the GPS satellite to the receiver. Now, when it gets the time from these 4 satellites precisely, at least 4 satellites precisely, it has a calculation. It has a calculating module. It can calculate your position precisely. Now, this is something like drawing a circle from, I'll show you an illustration here. If on a plane, if you give 3 points and draw circles and know the distance from 3 points, you can precisely locate yourself. Similar way, because now a plane or on a plane map it is in 2 dimensions, so we require 3 points. So in space we require 4 points, because in 3 dimensions, so to know your precise location as well as your height. So basically it is that. So these satellites, I'll repeat again, these GPS satellites are just transmitters. The other word that is used for them is also beacon, which means they're telling that this is where I am located, and this is my identity, and this is the time. So they're just beacons which transmit. Our handheld receivers receive, and we calculate our position. We calculate our position. That is very, very important. Our receiver calculates our position. The satellite doesn't know anything. Our receiver calculates our position, and till the time our position is not transmitted by some device to someone else, no one else knows it. Only your receiver knows your position. I think I'll end my this first session today now, because it's also sunny. I can't continue. I'll continue with more details in the next session.